From the heart of the Space City to the heart of Gen Z, welcome to Next Gen Conversation. Not Dad's Talk Radio. Ethan talks to you about the issues and events that matter to our generation. This is the Next Gen Report with Ethan Buchanan.
Hey, everybody. First and foremost, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I wasn't planning on doing a show this Sunday. I was just going to select some best of segments and air those and take the complete week off. We didn't do a Wednesday podcast. We took that day off as well. I was planning on doing the same thing this Sunday evening. However, I feel at this point enough has happened that I should talk about it. And so I'm going to do that. For starters, let me say I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Let's start off with that, because this is going to be a very heavy-hitting show. This is not going to be a fun one. If you listen a lot, you know we do a lot of fun ones here on the Next Gen Report. We like to trifle about. This is not going to be that. This is a very serious show. So if you're still in the holiday mood, if you're getting into the holiday mood now, because we've got Christmas coming up, it's Christmas time now, and you don't want to hit, hard, heavy topics, you can tune out now and I won't blame you. However, I will ask you not to, because this show is going to be very important. It's at a rough time of year to do it. We don't want to be thinking about hard, heavy-hitting topics right now. We don't. Nobody does. I don't. This is a time where you want to gather around with family, with friends, and just enjoy. We're here in Houston. It's cooler now. How about that? There's lights going up. We want to go look at lights. We want to drink hot cocoa. We want to go to church, sing some hymns, maybe go Christmas caroling, because it's Christmas caroling season. There's a lot of things that we would rather be doing right now than dealing with the harsh realities of life. And that's kind of one of the great things about the kind of Thanksgiving, Christmas holiday season, is you get to put all of that to the side for a minute. What I'm here to do today is warn you that all of that is completely under threat right now. And I mean that in no uncertain terms. It is under existential threat right now. There are people who do want to destroy it. All of it. Everything that we enjoy about everything, about this country, about this holiday season, about our faiths, all of it. There are people that hate that and will kill you to do away with it. Those people are real. They're out there right now. And they made a showing on Wednesday. So I'm going to ask you to give me 1 hour of your time this evening, from now until about 8 o'clock. I'm going to ask you to sit through some ads from now until 8 o'clock, every handful of minutes, so that we can talk about something that is important, so that we can talk about the fact that everything we love about this time of year and this country and our history and all of it, we can talk about what is attacking it and how we can stop it, how we can preserve it and protect it. And if we do a good enough job of putting aside the pleasantries for maybe the next couple of years, I'm going to be honest, this isn't a fight that we win automatically. And it's not a fight that we win just by talking about the fight. But if we talk about the fight, we take action and fight the fight now while we have an opportunity, and it is a brief opportunity. It's a brief window. We don't have an infinite amount of time to fix this country, to fix our way of life, and make sure we preserve it and pass it down. The opportunity to do that window is closing. And it's closing quicker than we think. What happened on Wednesday, which we'll get into shortly, is a prime example. It's also a prime example of the fact that fixing it will not be easy. Dealing with these issues that are slowly killing us as a nation is going to be hard. It's going to be an uphill battle. It's going to be messy. It's not going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of attacks, both politically and literally. I'm calling that now. The DC attack is going to be the first of many, regardless. All right? Regardless. Even if we completely cave in to the enemy who is already inside the gate, they're not just going to let us be until we conform to their way of life and give up our own. That's something that I personally am not willing to do. You shouldn't be willing to do that either. You should resist that with everything in your being. You should do everything in your power to resist that. And as long as you do, you're going to receive pushback for it. You're going to receive political pushback. You're going to receive mean comments on Facebook. But in the end, if we win, I guarantee you it will be worth it. And if you don't push back, guess what? You're going to receive all of those things regardless. As long as you do anything short of conform to, maybe it's Islam, maybe it's communism, any of these anti-American ideologies that the left is pushing, and it is pushing them, and it's pushing them increasingly more and more violently. Until you conform with those, the violence will continue. The hateful comments on social media will continue. So you can't just lean back, kick your feet up on the chair, and say, I'm apolitical, I don't want to get involved. Leave me alone. I'll go to church and I'll mind my own business, and I just want to go to church and celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas, and everybody else can do whatever they want. That's not allowed. Do you understand that? There is no apolitical here. There's no third option. You are either with them or against them, and they don't care about how on your own you want to be, how nice you want to be, how inclusive you want to be, how much you try not to be racist. They don't care. They will force you to think like they think, to do what they do, and they will use violence if they can get away with it. And the left wants them to be able to get away with it. We've seen that. So, this is going to be a difficult show. I'm going to ask you to give me one evening out of your holiday season. We'll be right back after these quick ads to talk about all of this. All right. Where is all this coming from? Why am I coming at you so hard and heavy the Sunday evening after Thanksgiving? I'm Ethan Buchanan. This is the Next Gen Report. Thanks for tuning in. Let's start with what we know. If you've somehow missed it, there was an attack on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. 2 of our brave National Guard soldiers were shot by a terrorist while just patrolling through our nation's capital. And I want you to just have that in the back of your head, because that's kind of getting brushed past in the midst of all of this. Think about that for a second. We can't have 2 of our soldiers in uniform just patrol the streets of our nation's capital without them being under threat. That's where we are right now as a nation. But let's talk about the actual attack. Around 2:15 p.m. on Wednesday, this is via ABC 7, which I believe is the local DC affiliate for ABC News. Beckstrom and Wolf, those are the 2 soldiers, were on duty near Farragut Square in downtown D.C. when a lone gunman armed with a .357 Smith & Wesson revolver opened fire on them. One of the soldiers was hit and went down. The soldier then, quote, leans over and strikes the guard again. According to the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, Janine Pirro. The second guardsman was hit several times. Other National Guard troops in the area engaged immediately, neutralized, and subdued the gunman. He was taken to a local hospital where he remained under heavy guard. Last I've heard, and I believe this is still up to date, but the last update I've seen is that attacker is still in critical condition. I want to highlight something that this article does not. When they say he was taken down, the attacker, he was subdued. He was subdued by another guardsman who was not armed with a firearm. That guardsman that subdued this attacker had only a knife. This attacker had a gun. The guardsman who subdued him had only a knife. He took his pocket knife and charged at this attacker and was able to kind of hold him at bay until another armed serviceman was able to shoot the attacker. That is bravery. That is American courage at its finest. You've watched this guy shoot two of your comrades in arms, and you have not a gun to speak of. So what do? You do the only thing you can. You grab your pocket knife and you just go whole hog on this guy because that is the only option you have. Actually, that's not the only option he had. He could have said, I don't have a gun, and hidden, but he didn't because he is a courageous American. And he took a knife to a gunfight and he won by the grace of God. Hell yeah. So that little detail is, I don't believe, actually included anywhere in this article, but it's been widely reported. You can go find it in other places. And that's a good reminder of do your most at any given time to be as armed as you can possibly be at any given moment, anywhere you are. Because again, you need it. At any given moment, and the likelihood is increasing day by day, you could be at the scene of this next attack. You, the American people, may very well be in a situation where you are the first responder. I've said this before on the show, I'll say it again. If you can carry a gun on your person, do it. If you, for whatever reason, cannot carry a gun on your person, get the biggest knife you can get your hands on and still kind of keep it concealed and not draw attention to yourself. For me, that's about a 5.5-inch spring blade, fold up pocket knife. I do not ever leave the house without that. I usually have a gun on me, but if I don't have a gun on me, I definitely have that knife on me 100% of the time. Now, is that always going to be what you need? Is every single person called to be that American hero with the knife that subdues the gunman? No. But I guarantee you he was glad he had that knife on him. Always be as armed to the teeth as you can possibly be. That is your duty as an American. It's not just an option. It's not just a fun right that you have. Oh yeah, I can carry a gun if I want to. No, you have an obligation to defend yourself and anyone around you, your fellow citizens, should the need arise. And if you're capable, if you're a person who has that ability, whether it's you're legally allowed to or what have you, for whatever reason, if you can have a firearm, have one. Keep it on your person. Know how to use it. Be well trained. And if not, get a knife. All right. Now, the tragedy here is that those two guardsmen that were shot by this terrorist, Ramunala Lakanwal is his name, I think. I'm pronouncing that right. One of those soldiers did die on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving evening, she was in critical condition from the time of the shooting to Thanksgiving evening. Around 7 o'clock is when I heard that she had passed, so she probably passed away around 5 or 6 Thanksgiving evening. Praise God, there was enough time for her family to get there and be with her. before she passed away in the hospital. But here is President Trump on Thanksgiving evening announcing that U.S. Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom of Summersville, West Virginia, passed away on Thanksgiving evening.
I must unfortunately tell you that just seconds before I went on, right now, I heard that Sarah Beckstrom of West Virginia, one of the guardsmen that we're talking about, highly respected, young, magnificent person, started service in June of 2023, outstanding in every way. She's just passed away. She's no longer with us. She's looking down at us right now. Her parents are with her. It's just happened. She was savagely attacked. She's dead. She's not with us. Incredible person. Outstanding in every single way, in every department. That's horrible.
And I want you to take note of something real quick because it's going to be important in the next two segments. If you're watching right now, if you're seeing the video, if you're listening on the radio right now, thank you for joining us on the radio live. Tune in on Monday. We'll have this up on YouTube, and you can actually see President Trump speaking there. You can see it in his eyes. This has affected him emotionally. And we're going to talk about this in the next couple of segments. This has flipped a switch in the President of the United States. And I'm so glad it has, because it should flip a switch in every single one of us. One of our American soldiers was killed on our home soil by a terrorist, and she passed away on Thanksgiving. No one should accept this. Nobody should say this is the status quo. We should all be pushing for every possible measure to be taken to retaliate, to make sure that if nothing else, our homeland is secure. That's what the pitch was for 20 years during the War on Terror, was we have to make sure that our homeland is secure. And while we were going off and building empires abroad, we were despotic at home. And this, I think, has been the call to action. And we'll dig into that in the next segment. We've still got quite a bit to talk about. Stay tuned through this one more ad break, and then we'll dig into how this has fundamentally shifted the Overton window, the status quo, and how far this administration is willing to push. We'll be right back. All right, I want to talk for a second about the reaction to this that we have seen from the left. The reaction from the left has not been, oh, this is a horrible tragedy, we need to make sure our country is safe. The reaction from the left has been, this is all Donald Trump's fault because he sent those soldiers into harm's way to make sure our country is safe. I'm not kidding. I'm not paraphrasing. That's literally what they have been saying, which is insane to me. It should be insane to you too. I'll give you an example of this. CNN did something that I think is very gross. Right after Sarah Beckstrom died, they went and found her ex-boyfriend to talk about it. They couldn't get any of her family to comment because obviously they're grieving. So what do? You grab the next best thing. What do we got going on? Oh, here's the ex-boyfriend. Sit in front of a camera. Talk about how terrible you think it was that she was deployed. Now, to his credit, I think this clip of CNN is being deceptively cut and deceptively framed here by Brian Krasenstein on X. But take a listen to the clip, and then I'll read you what Brian Krasenstein said about it.
And she just was also like, why am I here if I can't do nothing? Where they limited them so much, she's like, it's pointless. She's like, I get why we're here, crime's bad, but it's pointless if we can't do anything.
Now, here's what I think the point he's trying to make is. And I could be wrong. I can't read this guy's mind. But this is what I think he's saying. I think he's trying to make the point that there is a real and present need to use all available personnel and resources to cramp down on the violent crime in this country. And at every possible turn, the radical left has used lawfare to kneecap those efforts. They want the crime. And so when Trump says we're sending the National Guard in to help the police in Washington, D.C. because the crime is out of control, the left goes to court and they get an order from some ridiculous D.C. judge who's also a radical leftist that says you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. So rather than being able to help, make arrests and enforce the law, these National Guardsmen just end up having to be there essentially just to be a visual deterrent, which is better than nothing. But I think he's right. We do need to have them doing more. Clearly. Brian Krasenstein frames it like this. He says, National Guard member Sarah Beckstrom, who passed away, believed her DC deployment was pointless, according to her former boyfriend. They're framing this as though she didn't want to be there. But from what her ex-boyfriend actually said, it looks like she just acknowledged the fact that she had been prevented from doing her job by radical leftists that had worked themselves into position of power. Here's another good example of this. This is Henry M. Rosenberg on X. The outrage after the National Guard shooting should not be against immigrants, but against Trump's idiotic deployment strategy. He put them in harm's way. Are you kidding me? Let me just wrap your mind around this, if you will, with me for a second. The left thinks that we should just accept the fact that having our soldiers stationed in our nation's capital equals in harm's way. We're supposed to accept that our nation's capital isn't safe for uniformed members of the United States military. That's what the left wants from us. That's what we're supposed to be fine with. The answer is no, absolutely not. Every single inch of this country should be safe for every single American, especially those that are in uniform serving the country. How in the hell are you honestly making the pitch right now that our nation's capital is so unsafe that we just shouldn't even try to make it safe because it's too big of a risk to our service members? What world are we living in where this is the status quo? Where safety is considered a luxury that is just far too expensive for even our nation's capital. And that's the pitch that the left is handing out right now. And make no mistake, it's not just DC. They want that for every single American city, every single inch of the United States. They have no problem with it being a hellhole where even our soldiers can't so much as walk down the street without being shot by Muslim invaders. That's where we're at right now. And it is a Muslim invader. We're going to talk about that too, because now I'm fired up. Alleged DC shooter entered the U.S. under Afghan resettlement push. Mayorkas vowed it would be done swiftly and safely. It was done swift, I guarantee you. It was swift. We all watched it. I was active in politics in 2021. Most of you were too. That's when this guy came into our country. We spent 20 years fighting a war in Afghanistan just for Joe Biden to pull out with his tail between his legs and then import the same damn terrorists that we spent 20 years fighting. Now they're in our nation's capital. What was the line for 20 years? We're fighting them over there so that we won't have to fight them over here. And then we stopped fighting them over there, which was maybe worth it. It was probably time for us to leave Afghanistan properly. But on his way out, he gave up for no damn reason. We lost the Afghanistan war. I hate to break it to you. We didn't have to. And for no good reason we did. Biden just gave up after 20 years and then started importing the same people that were killing our American soldiers in the Middle East. For 20 years, we sent Americans to the sandbox to die, and then we pulled out with our tail between our legs and then brought in the people that were killing them, and now those same people are killing them in our nation's capital. That's the situation. That's not normal. That's not okay. You should be pissed off about it. But the left says, oh no. No, this is Trump's fault. Why would he put our nation's soldiers so needlessly in harm's way? They should have been twiddling their thumbs on a base while just non-uniformed American citizens are killed by these terrorists and criminal thugs across the country. That's what they want. God forbid we use the American military to keep America safe, to defend from all enemies, foreign and domestic, These are the domestic enemies. They're inside the gates. The barbarians are in the gates. The wall has been breached. The Muslims are inside Constantinople as we speak. And the left wants you to say, don't fight them. They already breached the wall. They're already in. Just give up. Put your tail between your legs. Call it a day. Our country is theirs now. 250 damn years of my ancestors and your ancestors, probably, if your family's been in the country long enough, fighting, bleeding, dying. We fought the British. We fought the British again. We fought ourselves. We fought Mexico. We fought pagan natives all across this country for 100 years to claim every single inch of this land. Blood, sweat, and tears. My ancestors, from the very revolution all the way down, every single major war, I can point to you somebody in my family tree who fought and bled and died to build this country from nothing. That's what Thanksgiving is all about. Build this country from nothing. Fought for it, built it up. And then once it was built, fought again to protect it. All around the world we did that. And then, now that the enemies have become domestic and not foreign, we're supposed to just call it a day. 20 years in Afghanistan, 20 years in whatever Middle East hellhole. Our American citizens were fighting and dying over there to protect this country. And now we've just imported them and we're supposed to just be fine with them killing the American people. I'm not fine with that. You shouldn't be fine with it either. I can tell you right now, like I said, something snapped in the president, and I'm all here for it. He's not fine with it either. Praise God. I predict that we will see a lot of action. We've already started to see it, and I couldn't be happier about it. So listen, we're going to be talking about all of that in the next segment, the last segment of the show. We're going to be talking about what we're already seeing from the Trump administration, and it is so good. It is so good. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, so I've made you aware, I hope, of the problem. I've set the stage, I think. This is where we're at. This is what we're dealing with. These are the issues. So what do we do about it? Like I said, the left would have us just throw our hands in the air, cry uncle, and let 250 years of blood, sweat, and tears be for nothing. That's what the left wants. They want this to be the death of this nation and everything it stands for. So what do we do? What's the solution? There is a solution. It's clear. It's obvious. It's not even that complicated. Might be expensive. It might be hard, but it's not complicated. It's simple. Get them out. That's it. That's the solution. Get these people out. They're not supposed to be here in the first place. They don't have to be here. We don't need them here. We can make do without them. Despite all of the crap the left will tell you, we need mass migration of people that hate this country for this reason, or they do this, or you don't want to really do this, do you? Well, they'll do it. We need this and this and this and this. And what about the GDP and la-di-da-di-da? The answer is no. Get them out. I told you I think a switch has been flipped in the president's mind. And I'm going to give you an example of this. He put out this tweet on Thanksgiving. This is perhaps the greatest thing I have ever seen from any president. I mean, this is the public statement equivalent of George Washington crossing the Delaware on Christmas. I'm going to read it to you in its entirety. Here it is. A very happy Thanksgiving salutation to all of our great American citizens and patriots who have been so nice in allowing our country to be divided, disrupted, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other foolish countries throughout the world, for being politically correct and just plain stupid when it comes to immigration. That is, right there at the beginning, one of the most important parts of all of this. We have given up our country in service of not being called racist. We were so scared that someone might say we're racist if we support things like mass deportation of American citizens, if we support things like not importing people from third world countries who are of no benefit to this nation. For the longest time, if you held those positions, you were looked at as evil and mean and cruel and racist. And in service of being nice, we have allowed those people into this country. They have taken advantage of us. They have stolen from us. They have killed us. They have raped us and worse. And guess what? Those same leftists have called you racist anyway. You have gotten nothing from this transaction. It is good that Trump would call that out in the very first sentence of this post. The official United States foreign population stands at 53 million people, according to the census, most of which are on welfare, from failed nations, from prisons, mental institutions, gangs, or drug cartels. They and their children are supported through massive payments from patriotic American citizens who, because of their beautiful hearts, do not want to openly complain or cause trouble in any way, shape, or form. I've spoken about this for months. This is weaponized empathy. The American people, on average, I think largely because of our faith, our Christian faith, have good hearts. We are charitable people. But there are those who would take advantage of that charitable heart. And make no mistake, they have. It is right for Trump to call that out. They put up with what has happened to our country, but it is eating them alive to do so. A migrant earning $30,000 with a green card will get roughly $50,000 in yearly benefits for their family. The real migrant population is much higher. This refugee burden is the leading cause of social dysfunction in America, something that did not exist before World War II. Failed schools, high crime, urban decay, overcrowded hospitals, housing shortages, and large deficits, etc. He's right. We haven't lived like this for forever. All of the problems that we love to complain about had to start somewhere. You look at American society in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. We had things like the Great Depression. But by and large, we lived in a high trust society where things were going, on average, pretty well. And then we started importing massive amounts of third worlders who do not care about us, who do not care about our country. They see us only as an economic opportunity that they feel they're entitled to. Why? No reason. They just are. The answer is no. I can tell you why I'm entitled to the economic opportunities that this nation offers. It's because my ancestors fought and died and built it from quite literally nothing. These people don't have that history. Their ancestors didn't build this country. Their ancestors wrecked their country. And now they want to come to my country and take what my ancestors have worked for. The answer is no. As an example, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. Somalian gangs are roving the streets looking for prey as our wonderful people stay locked in their apartments and houses, hoping against hope that they will be left alone. The seriously retarded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing, either through fear, incompetence, or both, while the worst congresswoman in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab, who probably came to the U.S. illegally in that you are not allowed to marry your brother, does nothing but hatefully complain about our country, its constitution, and how badly she is treated, when her place of origin is a decadent, backwards, crime-ridden nation, which is essentially not even a country for lack of government, military, police, schools, etc. And this is true. This is what pisses me off so much about Ilhan Omar. She was born in Somalia. She is a third worlder. And she demands so much from this country. She's elevated to a position of leadership in this country, and she does nothing but complain. Nothing but serve her third world crap hole country while complaining about the amazing nation that my ancestors built that we let her into for some damn reason. Trump continues. Even as we have progressed technologically, immigration policy has eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country, and all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country, denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. This is exactly what we need. And it can be done. It should be done. And anyone or anything we need to steamroll or sideline in order to do it should be done. This is exactly what I've been calling for months. If you do not love this country, its values, and its God, who is Jesus Christ, you should not be here. Get out. You're not welcome. I don't care if you've been naturalized. We will denaturalize you. I don't care if you have temporary status or whatever. I don't care if you're a refugee. The answer is no. You have taken advantage of our charity and our good hearts for too long. And so now the answer is no. Get out. This is the Next Gen Report. We'll be back Wednesday.